Hello, welcome to Explorer Classroom. My name is Vivette Dukes, and I'm so glad you're joining us today. At National Geographic, we believe that anyone can be an explorer and that you have the power to make a difference in the world, no matter how old you are. Explorer Classroom is here to inspire you with stories from the field and to connect you with our National Geographic Explorers live to answer your questions. This month, our theme is wildlife. From tiny fish that live deep in the ocean to big bears that live high on mountains, animals across the globe, they need our help to make sure that they are protected. Today, our National Geographic Explorer is the amazing Mélanie Wenger, who is joining us from Paris, France. Ooh. Melanie is a documentary photographer who takes beautiful photos and combines them with short stories to help people connect with animals and learn how to respect them. Today, Melanie will share how social media can have an impact on wildlife in ways you may not expect. She will also tell us more about what we all can do to protect endangered species, which are animals that could soon disappear from the planet if we don't look after them. Oh no. Before we get into today's lesson, I'd like to welcome our viewers who join us from around the globe. Special shout outs for today go to Avery Coonley School, Olivet Elementary School, Elko Middle School, St. Bartholomew Catholic School, Boston Teachers Union School, Lisbon Central School, and all the homeschools out there. We're thrilled to all have you here with us. And with that, it's time to get this Explorer Classroom started. Let's turn it over to Melanie to share all about how she uses stories to help protect endangered wildlife. Take it away, Melanie.
Hi, thank you so much, Vivette. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm so thankful to also see all of you there. I wanted to say hello from Paris, where I am based. I am a storyteller, a visual storyteller. So what I do is that I use photography and videography to tell stories. What I do mainly is focus on the relationship between animals and humans. And I explain a little bit this relationship. I publish the stories that I work on in magazines, both in the US and in other countries like France, Germany, and everywhere in Europe. And I am a National Geographic contributor and explorer. So that means also that I publish most of the stories in National Geographic Online and in the magazine. And today I wanted to share with you the backstage of one of the stories that I produced. So you see a little bit how I create this, how I photograph them, but also how I put them together for it to become an actual story that you will see and read online or in the magazine, if that's okay with you. So I'm going to share my screen so you have a little bit of a visual. And I hope it works. There we go. So I think you see on that first picture what we are going to talk about today. So I wanted to share with you a little bit the backstage of this story specifically. And this is the story of the African penguin of South Africa. I think you're more used to the other kind of penguin, that is the king penguin, that will look like a little bit orange here on the neck, and that you've been following probably in different movies or in Antarctica. The penguins I want to talk to you about today are smaller. They are just black and white, and they are based in a very different part of the world, that is South Africa. So to give you an indication of where that is, you will see on the map on the left with the little yellow hand, you will see exactly where those penguins are localized in South Africa, the very, very south of Africa. And you will see with the blue line that is on the map on the right, where the colonies of African penguins, this subspecies of penguins, are settled all around the shores of South Africa. So we are here, and I'm based there at some point to work on that. I started to work on this story in 2019. So that is before the COVID. And we wanted to tell the story of a very small colony that had decided to settle 30 years ago in a very urban area. So they decided to settle very near a small city that is near Cape Town, that is one of the biggest cities of South Africa. Compared to other African penguins, this colony is special because they settled there, very close to humans. Normally, wild animals settle somewhere very far from humans in a very wild area. That's not the case of this colony. So we wanted to focus a little bit more on them and analyze what was the relationship between them and the humans, that they lived very close together. So this small colony has a population of 986 pairs of penguins. So we count penguins by pair, always, because there are always two. Like they choose their mate for life, and they stay with them until death. They always stay together. So we count them by pair. So that's for penguins. That's a small colony. So we wanted to study a little bit this colony and tell their story also, because this colony is very popular. So it's the most well-known colony of penguins of the world, because everybody can actually go and visit them because they are so close to humans. And so it's very accessible. Everybody can go and see the penguins. And everybody knows also that it is possible to get close to them. And the problem with that is that it can be a little bit causing a little bit of distress to the penguins. And this interaction between human and wildlife can cause a bit of distress to them. So we wanted to analyze a little bit more what all that was about. For this, we settled there for a while in 2019, and we studied a little bit how the humans and the animals were interacting. We realized that there was a lot of people coming to see the penguins, and we understand why. They are very, very cute little creatures. And as you can see already, there were some boardwalks were put together for the people and the tourists visiting the penguins not to get too close to them. But we also realized that there was another little issue. Penguin selfies. So everybody wants to have a selfie with a penguin one day. It is actually not so good for them. So we realized that a lot of people wanted to get very close to the wild penguins, take a selfie and publish on Instagram. And the idea was to see how posting a picture on Instagram of the wild animals would actually harm them. As you can see, there are lots of these posts on Instagram showing penguin selfies, so very close to penguins and trying to have a cute picture with a cute penguin. Speaking to the people on board and the people that were trying to protect them, we understood that it was a little bit of a problem to take a penguin selfie. First, because going so close to a wild animal can be very bad for them. It can cause some sort of distress. And for the penguin specifically, they spend a lot of time at sea and fishing. They're not really used to humans. And most of the time, they keep their food for a while inside them before really eating it and also feeding their chicks. So if you come close to them and they didn't really take care of that, they can be stressed and they can lose their food. Going for food for a penguin is a lot of energy, and the distress can be really a problem. But this is something you have to know to be able to understand what your presence can cause to the wildlife. So we chose to tell this story to also make people understand what behavior you can have and what other behavior could be a problem for the wildlife. But then COVID happened, and we took this opportunity to realize what the world would be if the people would not be there anymore. And with COVID and with people being stuck at home and tourists not coming to South Africa anymore, we realized that the penguins took back their land and they started to go a little bit everywhere. They settled in the gardens of the villas where the colony was. And so I started with my team to put some camera traps to take some pictures of the penguins. So to explain you a little bit more, a camera trap is not an actual trap. So we were not trying to trap the penguins, don't be scared. What we wanted to do is take pictures of them. The idea was to not cause distress to the penguins. So we wanted to take pictures of them without being actually present. How can we do that, you may ask? Well, it exists. We have what we call a camera trap. So we take a camera, a basic normal camera, and we use another little box that is called a sensor. The sensor is going to go with the camera and is going to kind of capture the movement in the place. So we're going to put the camera and the sensor inside or on the side of the nest of the penguins when they're not there. And we're going to leave it there for days. And every time the penguin is going to pass or there will be a movement in the nest, the sensor will trigger the camera and the camera will take a picture. And that way, I was waiting in the house a bit further from the nests, at least like 50 meters, for days and days and days, while the pictures were being taken without me being there. And then I went to gather the pictures that were taken and look at what I got. So this is how we found a solution to take pictures of the penguins without causing any distress. But during that time, I was living in this house, waiting for my camera traps to go around and to work, and leaving the doors open. And every night at 8 o'clock, when they were coming back from fishing, the penguins would enter the house and go around and visit. Like you can see on this video, our little friend is getting a little personal tour in the house. So here the trick is that he's actually entering the house. So what I had to take was a very long stick where I put my small camera to have a video and to not be too close to him while I was filming him. So it was a bit of a gymnastics to capture something, even if he was going around. So he goes in the house, he goes in the little room of the children, watches the bear, sees if there is something to eat there. He doesn't like it so much, right? And continues to visit. So that was kind of an encounter and a very funny way to discover what happens when the humans are gone and how wildlife takes back their land and their space. So what we discovered, explaining and making and producing the story, is exactly how we can affect the wildlife with our behavior. We are always very happy to see them, and they're probably very happy to see us, but they're also very wild, and to protect this wilderness, we also somehow need to learn about how to behave to protect them. So what can you do to protect the endangered species on your side? Here are a little bit of tips. And this story is also to explain a bit that. So a penguin or any other wildlife, like a lion, of course, or a hippo or a smaller wildlife, is still a wild animal. And there are some little things that we should respect in that matter. For a penguin, you always need to keep a 10 feet distance from the wild animal to avoid causing distress. So to give you a little bit of an idea, 10 feet is the height of a basketball goal. So it's quite a little bit of distance. This is an okay distance. There are other small tips to see what you can do without causing any distress to the wildlife. Posting on Instagram pictures as a little bit of a problem, like don't get too close to them, but there is another thing. When you post pictures, there is also a lot of people and a lot of public seeing it, and it attracts more people. So a mass of humans going to visit wildlife can also create another kind of distress on the animal. They are not used to the mass of people. And also watch out for small little things. When you go to zoos or sanctuaries, watch out for the people that like give rides or perform with animals or pose with animals. Most of the time, this is, it depends on which kind of wildlife we're talking about, but this is a behavior that is not necessarily good for the wildlife, and that we have to probably learn to watch out for and adapt our behavior to respect the wildlife and protect it. And the rest of the story was also to try to figure out how we can protect the endangered species a little bit better, because this colony specifically, because it lives very close to the humans, is very popular, but it's also very much endangered because of its interaction with the rest of the people, but also because the penguins actually eat small pelagic fishes. Small pelagic fishes are sardines, you know, and who does also eat sardines? Do you know? Us. We love sardines. We eat a lot of sardines. So we have another interaction with the penguins somehow. We eat the same thing. So the problem is we eat a lot of sardine, and the penguin maybe at some point doesn't have enough sardine anymore to eat. So some scientists went ahead and did some tests and put some little trackers on top of the penguins, like you can see this guy on the left of the picture, to evaluate where they were going to fish for their sardines. You can see here in the different colors all the trip that the penguin does during the day in the bay to go find the sardines. This actually is used to determine where we can protect an area where fishermen don't go to fetch their sardines, so we leave the sardines to the penguins and they have enough food to survive. So that's another way we can protect wildlife. So this is a very specific story to tell, and as I told you, to not be physically present to photograph the penguins, we had to find new ways. The penguin spends a lot of time underwater, and we had to find a way to photograph them underwater without being physically present. The camera trap that I talked to you about just before doesn't work underwater because the water moves all the time, so the sensor doesn't work. So we had to find a way and to determine by observing where the penguins were going to fish every day. We determined on that beach that the penguins were leaving the beach every morning at the same time through that channel that is surrounded by red. So to photograph them, we decided to go put a camera there every day underwater and to take a picture every 2 seconds for every morning. We put our camera on a tripod that was put down the channel. As you can see, the camera is the red thing. We put it in a case, and we put it underwater on a bag of sand so it doesn't move. It's exactly here that we are going to go underwater like this and set our cameras. We did that for 15 days. Every morning we woke up before sunset sunset, so before sunrise, we went underwater to put the camera, and we were going to pick it up a little bit later, every morning for 15 days. And after 15 days, we got one picture of a penguin, which is this one. And it's the one and only picture taken of an African penguin underwater without being physically present. This is part of the story, and because it felt that it was necessary for us to tell the whole story of the penguin under and over the water. The story was published by National Geographic in October 2021, alongside with the text of a writer to explain the story of the small colony of Cape Town, South Africa, of African penguins. That's it for me. I'm available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have so many more questions, but just not enough time to get to all of them. But thank you again, Melanie, and all the students and teachers watching. We've had such a robust conversation this morning. We hope you join many more of our events here at Nat Geo. Our next event for ages 9 to 14 will be on Thursday, May 11th, that's next week Thursday, with explorer Phoebe Griffith. Join Phoebe as she takes us underwater alongside some of the biggest predators that lurk in dark rivers. So go ahead and register for this event and more at natgeoed.org/Explorer Classroom. You can request a chance to be featured on screen. My fellow teachers, we've also created a new interactive guide for you to share with your students to take them on a learning journey with each of our special guests. Find the Explorer Mindset in Action Guide and Teacher Edition linked on each event registration page. Have a great day, everyone. And remember to stay curious and keep exploring. Bye.